All right. Hello, Visaka, Rick, welcome. Welcome to those joining. Hello, Luisa, Anna. Please tell me how the internet connection, video, audio is. Welcome, Yankee. Hello, Bill. Welcome. Thank you, Luisa. Hello, Jayantha. All right. As usual, we'll give it a couple of minutes for people to join. Then we'll get started. Evening, Gregory. Get started in about 1 minute. Hello, Douse. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hello, welcome, Dharma Learner. All right, I think we can get started. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sukho viveka tuttassa sutta dhammassa passato avyapajjang sukhang loke panabhute susamyamo sukha viragata loke kamanang samatikkamo asmimanassa yo vinayo etang viye paramang sukhang Sabbang paravassang dukkang sabbang issarayang sukkang sadharane vinyanati yogahi duritikkamati. Arakitena kayena michaditi gatena cha tina midda bibuttena vasang marasa gacchati tasmarakita chittassa sammasankappa gocharo sammaditti purikaro nyatvana udayabbayang tina midda bibubiko sabba dugatiyo jaheti Sukarang sadunad sadhu sadhu papena dukarang papang papena sukarang papang ariyehi dukarang. All right, English. Blissful is detachment. Blissful is detachment for one who is content, for one who has learned the Dhamma and who sees. Blissful is freedom from anger in the world, restraint towards living creatures. Blissful is passionlessness in the world, the overcoming of sensual desires. But the abolishing of the conceit, I am, that is truly the supreme bliss. All subjection to another is painful. Full mastery is bliss. Partners share in affliction. Bonds are difficult to overcome. Forsake bad destinations. With an unguarded body and encumbered by wrong views, overcome by lethargy and torpor, one goes along in the power of Mara. So let one's mind be guarded, let one's domain be right thought. By putting right view to the forefront, by understanding rise and fall, and overcoming lethargy and torpor, a bhikkhu will forsake all bad destinations. For the good to do what is good is easy, for the bad to do what is good is difficult. For the bad to do what is bad is easy, for the noble to do what is bad is difficult. Sadhu. All right, friends, welcome. It is Monday night, so that means it's time for another festival of Dhamma, Dhammapalooza with the Maggasekha community. And as always, we don't know what this festival of Dhamma will entail, but there's a variety of different Dhamma-related activities that we can do. We've done some chanting. Later, we'll do some meditation. And in between, who knows? Maybe we'll read suttas. Maybe we'll have Q&A. Maybe we'll do a mix of everything. But as always, the Maggasekha community has a say in how this goes. Right? When I start the stream, I only put Dhammapalooza in the date because I don't know what we're going to do. It's only after the stream that I add that stuff in. So if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, you can put that in the chat. If you have any topics you'd like me to give a talk on, you can put that in the chat. If you have a topic you'd like the community to discuss, you can put that in the chat. You know, I always encourage you talking to each other in the chat, saying hello, encouraging each other, these kind of things. This is a very good way to foster community. So for the next couple of minutes, we'll keep an eye on the chat and see what happens. And if nobody has anything, well, we can always play some Sutta Roulette. Ah, Hubertus, my friend from Indonesia. I might be staying with my Indonesian friends in New York City in January. We'll see. It's been a while since I got to spend time with my Indonesian friends. I really feel an affinity for all my Indonesian Buddhists. All right. So it's always good to have you with us, Hubertus. Even though you're on the opposite side of the world and who knows what time it is. Well, probably in the morning for you, isn't it? Or early afternoon. Let's see. Oh, hello, Gray. Welcome. Gray Rafael. I think that name sounds familiar. I think you've been with us before. If not, well, welcome your first time. But I think you've been with us before, if not for a while. So Rick has a question. Bhante, what are the skillful ways to perceive and interact with the element of space? What guidance does the Buddha offer in relationship to space? Thank you. I can't really think of much other than in relation to the arupa attainments, the formless attainments, or as you're asking, obviously, about when the four elements are expanded to six. But the Buddha, not that I can recall, really goes into much detail about space. I mean, when he's talking about space, he's literally talking about space. Like all of this is space, right? Because he uses similes sometimes of drawing something in space, drawing something in the air, right? And how that can't really be done. So I'm not really sure that I can really speak much about space. If you're doing it within the body, you can visualize, you can reflect on, like there's all kinds of, like the lungs have space. There's maybe some space between organs and things like that where air can move past. Yeah, other than that, I can't really say that I have much to say about space, to be honest with you. At least in a Buddhist religious sense, I have lots to say about like outer space, but that's not the question, nor the proper place for that. Um, so I'm sorry, Rick, that's really all I could give you. Gregory says, any thoughts on the best way to support lay teachers? The rules for supporting monastics seem clear, but seem hard to determine the appropriate way to support householders. What exactly do you mean? Like, there are no rules. So it's pretty wide open when it comes to lay teachers. I mean, I know some lay teachers. There is a whole spectrum of how lay teachers deal with dana and how how close to monastics or traditional Buddhism they go with it or not. But I know if you could clarify some more for me, maybe I could speak a bit more. Hello, Gretchen. Yeah, Gray is from New Zealand. Yep. Same thing with our friend Jay, who comes on. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, lay teachers, again, there's a wide variety. I mean, there's lay teachers that either expect or just get like, fancy hotel rooms and, first class flights when they go places, you know, uh, and some are a bit more humble and less well known. I don't know any more clarity that you'd like to give or some specifics you'd like me to discuss. That would be appreciated, Gregory. Bill has a question. From time to time after meditation, I'm extremely angry. What is that about? Normal. It's probably normal. And I wouldn't say normal in terms of like that's what the most people experience. But everybody's meditation can be very unique to that person. So if you have this consistency where you're angry after a meditation, well, that's something you can investigate. If it's really consistent, why? What is it? Like halfway through the meditation, see if you can see any rising causes and conditions that lead to, when it's done, you being angry. Is it related to that you felt like your meditation didn't meet expectations? Is it related to you wanted to stay in peaceful meditation longer and you have to get up? Like try to figure out why the anger arises. What are the causes and conditions? What's the reason for it to arise? I can't say that I've ever uh, talked to somebody who has anger after their meditation. So you're the first person that I could. So I can't like tell you about other people's experiences, but it's interesting. But that's what I would say. Try to investigate and find out. Really see why the anger is arising after your meditation. It would be the same way if after your meditation you had the munchies. Like, oh, I meditated. Now I got to go eat some chips. Or after your meditation you felt, um, sad or depressed. It's like, okay, why? Figure it out. Try to reflect and to investigate and see, whoa, what is this? Why is this consistent pattern happening? All right. So Gregory has some clarifications. For instance, we shouldn't pay for Dhamma. Well, I mean, that's a personal policy. Plenty of people pay for Dhamma. Um, is that how it should be? I don't think so. But it's part of how Buddhism slash quasi Buddhism slash whatever has grown in the West. Reimbursing expenses is okay. If a lay teacher asks for money or material support, what would be good criteria for supporting them? Well, support them the same as supporting monks or whatever. It's like, what can you give? You reflect on what you can give, and and if the person's teachings were very valuable to you, you might feel more gratitude. Um, and you just give what you feel is appropriate. That's all. It doesn't have to be complicated. Mm. Yeah, I think most time when lay teachers are invited somewhere, it's fairly similar to when I'm invited to a place. They'll pay for your airfare, they'll put you up in a place. Although most of the time I'm put up in somebody's house, which I like. I like it much nicer. One time when I was invited to teach at the biggest insight meditation place in North Carolina, they flew me in, and I was in a hotel room that I would have never paid for as a layperson. It was just this huge, like one of the biggest suites in the hotel. And I'm like, I'm a monk. Well, I don't need all this space. And I remember talking to some of the lay people, and they said, "Oh, that's kind of like expected by some of the bigger lay teachers that come through." I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it. That makes sense." But yeah, support as you wish, as you're able, and as you wish. That's what I would say. it's a little it's a little weird. It's a little iffy. Like I couldn't see myself as a lay teacher just because it is a weird mix, right? It is a really weird mix of support me, but I'm a lay person. It's like I would probably just feel really weird having somebody just support me for my teachings as a layperson. But that's just me personally. It's not a judgment on lay teachers or anything. Um, so yeah, support as you wish. I don't think there needs to be, any protocols or any specific things. Huberto says, "Can I ask about vipassana jnana?" I think this is Burmese vipassana here. I can't really, I don't really know specifics about the jnanas in terms of the Burmese use of it. What jnana lay people have to become sotapanna? So the Buddha doesn't give very specifics about how to become a sotapanna. The Buddha says that you become a sotapanna through developing the Noble Eightfold Path. So that would be my answer. This is the Buddha in the suttas, obviously. My answer is honestly, sincerely, devotedly develop all aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path, including right mindfulness and right concentration, and then you'll have and develop good faith in the Buddha, and then you'll become a stream mentor. Uh, Rick has a follow up. I'm wondering about empty space or void and our relationship to empty space. In addition, I'm interested in emptiness in Buddhism. So I can only really speak to emptiness in Theravada, or at least in the suttas. And emptiness, sunyata, is not something that's very commonly talked about in the suttas. And when it is, it's almost always talked about in relation to anatta, not self, and no soul. So it's like you're empty of any kind of permanent essence. That's really what emptiness means in the early texts. And from speaking to some people who are Mahayana, that's also a lot of what it means in Mahayana as well. Although some traditions go into like the whole world being empty and all these things of like the world is an illusion and things like that. That's not something the Buddha talks about or cares about in the early texts. Um, but mostly it's about not self or soullessness. Your relationship to empty space. What do people like to do with empty space? They like to fill it. What do you do with empty rooms in your house? You fill it. Right? People feel like unless you're like Japanese or something like that, and you really like these kind of like empty, simple rooms. I do. I quite like that kind of aesthetic of like very clean, clear, not much in a room kind of stuff. Um, if I ever get to the point where I have a monastery and I have a sala, it's going to be just like that. It's going to be bare and empty, lots of empty space. Becoming comfortable with emptiness, empty space, and the desire to have to fill it. Why are we filling empty space? That's something to investigate. something to question. It's almost like the empty space invites us or gives us justification to buy more things, right? To expand our junk. Even what's that saying? Nature abhors a vacuum. Usually, it's about like, if one species dies off that had a niche, there's a species that usually covers it and things like that. But we also abhor a vacuum. We like to fill things, not have emptiness. Hello, Jose. Welcome. Some interesting questions today. Thought-provoking questions. I always like when I don't get the same questions over and over again. No high and luxurious beds. Yeah, for monastics. Anybody else, it doesn't matter. Unless you're following the 8 precepts on Aposana. All right. Why don't we do some sutta roulette? Because we're up to the end of the chat. Let's see. Last time I think we did Samyutta Nikaya. We did Anguttara Nikaya last time. So why don't we do Samyutta Nikaya this time? As usual, this is good for hearing random suttas, but it's also good for if you are new and you're not too skilled at maneuvering suttas. Right? And so Sutta Central is one of the best websites out there for that. Let me share screen. All right, so we'll go on the main page of Sutta Central. We'll go to the basket of discourses. And then we'll go to the linked discourses, the Samyutta. You have the Digha, Majjhima, Samyutta, Anguttara, and the Khuddaka. We will go to... Actually, you know what? I forgot. We did the Khuddaka a long time ago. And it's interesting. So I'm going to say, let's go to the Khuddaka. Let's do the Udana, the heartfelt sayings. Let's see. All right, so it looks like there's 8 chapters here. All right, maybe we'll do between 1 and 8 and between 1 and 10. That might work. All right. Wait, what happened? Oh, there we go. I went to another tab that wasn't being shared. All right. Hubertus says, what kind of practice to not attach to family? Development of wisdom and insight. If you practice sammasati, right mindfulness, sammasamadhi, right stillness, and then you see things as they are, and you attach less. Having real insight that brings you nibbida, disenchantment, viraga, dispassion, and vimutti, freedom. This is the only way that you let go of your attachments. Otherwise, your attachments remain. All right, so the way this works for those of you who have never done this before, I ask for a number between X and Y, and then I say go, and then you type a number, whatever number in that range that you like. And the first person whose number pops up, that's the number we usually choose. And so for most of the suttas, we're dealing with two numbers, usually a chapter and then the specific number for the sutta. So we will first ask for a number between 1 and 8. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, we have Metika in with a 3. So that's going to be Udana 3, chapter with Nanda. What do we have here? All right. So now we have a number between 1 and 10, and 3, 2, 1, go. It's a little harder to do Sutta Roulette on some of these Kudaka Nikayas. 4. The range is just not there for a lot of them. But we have, with Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta meditates, his mind is solid as a rock. So I have heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, Venerable Sariputta was sitting not far from the Buddha, cross-legged, his body set straight and mindfulness established in front of him. The Buddha saw him meditating there. Then, understanding this matter on that occasion, the Buddha expressed this heartfelt sentiment. As a rocky mountain is unwavering and well-grounded, so when delusion ends, a monk, like a mountain, doesn't tremble. Since we're here, why don't we read with Mahamoggallana? We'll fill out the pair. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, Venerable Mahamoggallana was sitting not far from the Buddha, cross-legged, with his body straight and mindfulness of the body well established in himself. I see. Mindfulness established in front of him with Sariputta, and mindfulness of the body well established in himself. That's interesting. All right. Two different practices. The Buddha saw him meditating there. Then, understanding this matter on that occasion, the Buddha expressed the heartfelt sentiment. With mindfulness of the body established, refrained in the 6 fields of contact. A mendicant always immersed in samadhi, with no quenching in themselves. That would make sense because Sariputta and Mahamoggallana had two different strengths. Sariputta is chief among the disciples in wisdom, yet he was pretty much a dry vipassana meditator. He did have jhanas, I think, because Buddha tells us that both, you might be inclined towards one or the other, but in the end you have both. But Sariputta didn't have any psychic powers or any of the other kind of side effects that usually come from being able to be like master of jhanas and these kind of things. Whereas Mahamoggallana was the opposite. So they had two different skill sets or two different tendencies, as it were. All right, let's do another. Since we did Udana, why don't we do Itivutaka now? Let's see, how many suttas? So around 20. Let me see here. 112. Let's make this one easy. A number between 1 and 100 in 3, 2, 1, go. Dallas comes in with a 55. All right. Let's see, would that be book of twos? Nope, book of threes. 50 to 59. What do we get for 55? Let's see. Searches. Since there's two, why don't we do both? Searches 1. This was said by the Buddha, the perfected one. This is what I heard. Mendicants, there are these 3 searches. What 3? Search for sensual pleasures, search for continued existence, and search for a spiritual path. These are the 3 searches. The Buddha spoke, or this is, maybe you've heard me talk about the Adya Pariyesana. This is the same word. Here we have the Brahmachariyesana. Adya Pariyesana is what the Buddha calls is the noble quest, the noble search. I quite like the word quest instead of search, but it's basically the same thing. This is why you hear me say quest, the noble quest. But so there's 3 quests: the quests for sensual pleasures, the quest for continued existence, and the quest for a spiritual path. The Buddha spoke this matter. On this he said, stilled, aware, a mindful disciple of the Buddha understands quests, the cause of quests, where they cease, and the path that leads to their ending. With the ending of searches, a mendicant is hungerless, extinguished. This too is a matter that was spoken by the Blessed One. That is what I heard. Searches 2. This was said by the Buddha, the perfected one. That is what I heard. Mendicants, there are these 3 searches. What 3? the search for sensual pleasures, the search for continued existence, and the search for a spiritual path. There are these three searches. The Buddha spoke this matter on this is it is said, the search for sensual pleasures, for a good rebirth, and the search for a spiritual path, the holding tight to the notion this is the truth, and the mass of grounds for views. One detached from all lusts, freed by the ending of craving, that searching has been relinquished, and those viewpoints eradicated. With the ending of searches, a mendicant is free of hope and indecision. This too is a matter that was spoken by the Blessed One. That is what I heard. All right. Minor collection. See, we did the Udana, we did the Itivutika. Let's do we could do the Buddhist ghost stories. But Halloween is kind of over, isn't it? Let's do the Sutta Nipata. All right. A number between 1 and 5, and 3, 2, 1, go. Four, chapter of the Eights. All right. A number between 1 and 16, in 3, 2, 1, go. I see Douse has a question. We'll check that out after we read. Anna comes in with a 1. The drawbacks of sensual pleasures. Kama Sutta. If a mortal desires sensual pleasure and their desire succeeds, they definitely become elated, having got what they want. But for that person in the throes of pleasure, aroused by desire, if those pleasures fade, it hurts like an arrow strike. One who, being mindful, avoids sensual pleasures, like sidestepping a snake's head, transcends attachment to the world. There are many objects of sensual desire: fields, land, and gold, cattle and horses, slaves and servants, women and relatives. When a man lusts over these, the weak overpower him, and adversities crush him. Suffering follows him, like water in a leaky boat. That's why a person ever mindful should avoid sensual pleasures, give them up, and cross the flood, as a bailed out boat reaches the far shore. All right. Let's do the Tara and Gatas. We'll alternate between the two. This is 21. Oh, wait, that's right. Oops. 21 and 16. right. So we're in the Therigatha, verses of the elder bhikkhunis. Let's do a number between 1 and 16. And 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, Metika must have good Irish internet there. You've come in first a couple times now. I think when that happens, I usually go to the next person just to spread it around a little bit. So Luisa has us going into the number 6. Book of Sixes. Now let's see, what do we got here? All right. A number between 1 and 8. In 3, 2, 1, go. I already like this because the first one is Patachara. Oh, Louisa comes in with a 2. There you go. I think Metika abstained in this one. Did we lose everybody? Is the people falling asleep? This is so boring. All right. Vaseti. Struck down with grief for my son, deranged out of my mind, naked, my hair flying, I wandered here and there. Sounds very much like Patachara. I lived on rubbish heaps, in cemeteries and highways. For 3 years I wandered, stricken by hunger and thirst. Then I saw the Holy One, who had gone to the city of Mithila, tamer of the untamed. The awakened one fears nothing from any quarter. Regaining my mind, I paid homage and sat down. Out of compassion, Gautama taught me the Dhamma. After hearing his teachings, I went forth to homelessness, applying myself to the teacher's words. I realized the state of grace. All sorrows are cut off, given up. They end here. I fully understand the basis from which grief comes to be. It's very, very nice, beautiful verses. Since we're here, let's read about Patachara and let's look at Ayasoma's translation. I've never seen any of Ayasoma's translations. All right. Patachara. You do not know how a being comes and goes, or whence that being came, yet you weep, oh my child. If you really knew how one comes and goes, you would not mourn, for you would understand that this is the nature of a being. Uninvited they come, without permission they leave. Whence did they come? How long will they stay? Departing from one place, they go to another. One who has died in the form of a human being will be reborn again and again. As one comes, so one goes. Why lament, since that is so? At last you pulled out the thorn, difficult to see, stuck in my heart. I was overcome with grief after the loss of my child. But now that grief has been dispelled. Today the thorn has been pulled out. I am free from craving, fully quenched. I go to the sage for refuge, in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. All right. Why don't we do some Bhikkhu, some Theragatha, verses of the senior monastics. So, a number between 1 and 21. In 3, 2, 1, go. I think maybe we'll do one or two more. I'll answer some questions, then we'll do our meditation. I'm liking that we're going to different places today. Get a nice diverse grouping of suttas. Oh, nobody wants a number now. If I don't see a number, I'll just choose one myself. All right, let's see. 13s. That's a good one. Let's go to 13.1. Oh, this is a long one. Well, not too much, but for the gathas, it's a long one. Sona Kolivisa. He who was special in the kingdom, the footman of the king Anga, today is special in the Dhamma. Sona has gone beyond suffering. So this is a soldier, footman that's become awakened. 5 to cut, 5 to drop, and 5 more to develop. When a mendicant slips 5 chains, they're said to have crossed the flood. If a monk is insolent and negligent, concerned only with externals, their ethics, immersion, and wisdom, sila, samadhi, and panya, this is the threefold division of the Noble Eightfold Path, does not become fulfilled. They disregard what should be done and do what should not be done. For the insolent and the negligent, their defilements only grow. Those who have properly undertaken constant mindfulness of the body don't cultivate what should not be done, but always do what should be done. Mindful and aware, their defilements come to an end. The straight path has been explained. Go on it and don't turn back. Urge yourself on and take yourself to quenching. When my energy was overexerted, the supreme teacher in the world created a simile of the this is Sona. This is the simile of the Vina. Created the simile of the arched harp, Vinopamam. For me, the clear-eyed one taught the Dhamma, and when I heard what he said, I happily did his bidding, practicing serenity of mind for the attainment of the highest goal. I've attained the 3 knowledges and fulfilled the Buddha's instructions. The 3 knowledges, for those of you who don't know, are you'll see this often when the Buddha explains how when he became awakened or the process of somebody becoming awakened. First one is seeing all their past lives. Second is understanding how beings are born and die and come to be again, based on their karma. And the third is the destruction of the taints. And fulfilled the Buddha's instructions. When you're dedicated to renunciation and seclusion of the heart, when you're dedicated to kindness and the end of grasping, when you're dedicated to the ending of craving and clarity of heart, and when you've seen the arising of the senses, your mind is rightly freed. For that one rightly freed, a mendicant with peaceful mind, There's nothing to be improved and nothing more to do. As the wind cannot stir a solid mass of rock, so too sights, tastes, and sounds, smells and touches, the lot, and ideas, whether liked or disliked, don't disturb the poisoned one or the poised one. Their mind is steady and unfettered as they observe disappearance. All right. Why don't we do some meditation now? Set your body up in whatever comfortable and stable position works for you. We'll do some mindful scanning of the body before we start to follow our breath. You can place your focus and mindfulness at the feet. By this, I mean to focus in on any sensation or feeling in that part of the body, such as the feeling of the feet pressing against the floor or the cushion. Move up through the ankles into the calves. Through the knees, into the thighs. Up through to the hips and pelvis. Paying close attention how the angle of the pelvis impacts your posture. When you're ready, move up the spine, through the abdomen and the chest. Up through to the shoulders, making sure they're hanging loosely, not scrunched up and tight. Down through to the elbows and hands, observing how their position impacts your posture. And finally, up to the head, checking that the head is also not leaning and slouching, chin parallel to the floor. When you're done setting up your body in a comfortable and stable position, let the body go and take 3 deep breaths. Then let the breath go. From here on in, try not to manipulate or control the breath in any way. This body's been breathing from the moment you were born, will continue to do so until the second you die. Doesn't need you to do its job. Your job is to simply observe, investigate, and abide with the breath The body breathes in, the body breathes out. As you're following your breath, your mind will become bored, will seek to run away to the past, the future, across the world, to various stories and fantasies. Or an external distraction like a sound will arise. Your mind will become agitated and attached to it. Whenever this happens, slowly it will start to dawn on you after a while that you've been taken away from the breath. At that point, do your best to come back to full focus and mindfulness of the breath, acknowledging that you've been taken away. Then practice letting go of the distraction if it's still there by neither getting agitated and pushing it away, nor by continuing to be attached to it. Try to do your best to let it go, to let it be. Give it no effort, energy, or attention, and then return to the breath. Whenever you're distracted away, acknowledge, let go, and return. Acknowledge, let go, and return. Always come back to the breath. The breath is home base. Always there, doing its job, ready for you to come follow it towards a more calm and tranquil mind. Slowly begin to open your eyes, becoming aware of the room around you and your body's position in it. Reflecting on the state of your mind before and after the meditation, and contemplating any experiences that stood out during the meditation. And while you do that, we'll read some Dhammapada, and then we'll close out. Papa, evil. Hasten to do good. Restrain your mind from evil. He who is slow in doing good, his mind delights in evil. Should a person commit evil, let him not do it again and again. Let him not find pleasure therein, for painful is the accumulation of evil. Should a person do good, let him do it again and again. Let him find pleasure therein, for blissful is the accumulation of good. It may be well with the evildoers as long as the evil ripens not. But when it does ripen, then the evildoer sees the painful results of his evil deeds. It may be ill with the doer of good as long as the good ripens not. But when it does ripen, then the doer of good sees the pleasant results of his good deeds. Think not lightly of evil, saying, "It will not come to me." Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the fool, gathering it little by little, fills himself with evil. Think not lightly of good, saying, "It will not come to me." Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the wise man, gathering it little by little, fills himself with good. Just as a trader with a small escort and great wealth would avoid a perilous route, or just as one desiring to live avoids poison, even so should one shun evil. If on the hand there is no wound, one may carry even poison in it. Poison does not affect one who is free of wounds. For him who does no evil, there is no ill. Like fine dust thrown against the wind, evil falls back upon that fool who offends an inoffensive, pure, and guiltless man. Some are born in the womb, the wicked are born in hell, the devout go to heaven, the stainless pass into Nibbana. Neither in the sky nor in the mid-ocean, nor by entering into mountain clefts, nowhere in the world is there a place where one may escape the results of evil deeds. Neither in the sky nor in the mid-ocean, nor by entering the mountain clefts, nowhere in the world is there a place one will not be overcome by death. All right. Hubertus says, "Will I come to Indonesia, Bante?" Yes, whenever people bring me there. One of my good friends, Indonesian friends in New York City, Victor, he said that one day he wants to bring me to Indonesia. We'll see if that happens. But if people want to bring me to Indonesia, I will go. No doubt. All right. Let's do our final business. Okay, friends, if this is your first time watching this stream and you'd like to find out more information about me and the organization Maggasekha, you can go to the website listed on the screen, maggasekha.org, maggasekha.org. On this website, this is my headquarters. This is where I post anytime I do a new article, do a retreat, do new videos, whatever. when I post about my travels, all of that is on that website. So if you like, you can go to the website, and in the top right of that website, there's a place for you to put your email, and then you'll get notified by email anytime I do an update. Same thing on YouTube. You can click subscribe, click the bell, and then anytime I come out with a new live stream or video, then you can get an email update. We also have our online Discord community. The Maggasekha community uses the program Discord. We are a community that is based in the suttas, the early texts, both in study and in practice. It's a community where we meditate together, we read suttas together, and encourage and share the Noble Eightfold Path journey that we're all on together. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, you can go send an email to the email listed at the bottom of the screen, maggasekha@gmail.com, and then ask for an invite, and we'll send you an invite. So friends, we do a variety of different activities. I do at least 3 live streams every week. This week I'm doing 4 because I'm covering for Empty Cloud, but I do at least 3 main events every week. Monday night Dhammapalooza, which is what we're just finishing up. Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. New York time. I do on Insight Timer phone app. I do a hour and a half session, meditation, Dhamma talk, and Q&A. And Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on our Discord community, we read the suttas together. So those are the 3 main events that I do every week. And then I also do Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. New York time, GMT -5. We do morning monastery experience, which is a half-hour session that emulates the morning puja session at a monastery. So there's some precepts and chanting, and I give a little Dhamma talk, give some thoughts of Dhamma, these kind of things. So you're welcome to join us. I'll be in 11 and a half hours. I'll be live again doing morning monastery experience tomorrow morning. All right. Let's share merits, and then we'll call it a night. Dukkha patta chane dukkha, bhaya patta chane bhaya, soka panta chane soka, hontu sabbe pipaniyo, etavata chamehi sampatang punya sampatang, sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, akasatta chabummatta deva naga mahiddhika punyang tang anumoditva charang rakantu sasanang. May the suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit of ours that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, friends. With that, we come to the end of another Dhammapalooza. Sukhi Hotu, may you be well and at ease. Practice well and be well. And may you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again, whenever that may be. Have a good week.